Guys, to another episode of Road to Racetrack. This time you join us as we're about to head out for the qualifying session here at Silverstone. This time we're taking part on the GP circuit, one of my all-time favourites to race on in the sim racing world for many years. And of course this was just after Hamilton and Verstappen had their huge collision at Copse Corner as well, so there was a lot of excitement going into this round, thinking that if I'm going to do well anywhere, it's going to be here. So of course we are still with the Mazda RX-8, our 1.3 rotary engine, for those that don't know. And we're just rolling onto the circuit with a massive 40 plus cars entering the grid all at once. All different classes. If you're not familiar with the series, then there are 3 classes. And for this particular round, it's even more confusing because it's not only the Trackday Trophy, but you've got the Supercup there as well. So a lot more faster machinery. You've got some Porsches, a few, I think there's a Caterhams. There's a lot of stuff there. And it's also, we had the GT Championship there for the British GTs. So a lot of stuff going on this for this particular round. And instantly, as soon as we start doing some laps, getting the car up to temperature, instantly we realised that traffic is going to be a massive problem. You can see tons of cars, all in the Super Cup class, flying past us at every single opportunity that they get, especially this BMW that dives down into Club Corner. Very lucky that we saw them coming. We even get a very twitchy moment here where one of the cars splits us 3 wide. The car on the left hand side bails out because it realises that this is going to get very hairy as we go through village. But yeah, that was a lucky escape. Also the guy ahead, this Citroen, goes really sideways, loses it completely. He's going off the circuit, and we say to ourselves, well, I'm glad that's not going to be us, but literally next lap we nearly lose it ourselves as well. So very scary moment for us. You can see the opposite lock that we're having to apply just to save the car. So that was when the tyres had started to warm up, but just a bit too much, because what we had done is increase the tyre pressures on all 4 corners because it was quite chilly. But as soon as we went out to the circuit, the sun came out and it roasted the circuit, and I think that our tyre pressures were just way too high. So we just went round, let the tyres cool down, let some of the cars go by, as you just saw, and I believe this is our fastest lap. So we'll take you around the circuit, give you an insight as to what the GP circuit is all about. So starting on the old GP straight down into Copse Corner, we're staying in 4th gear for this because we want to carry as much speed through. Nice exit curve there, use all the momentum and then set yourself up going into Maggotts and Beckett's. Very technical in this car. We don't have any aero packages, so clip the inside curb. Make sure you're not too aggressive on the right because that's where it starts to let go of the rear. And then down into 3rd, make sure you maintain those revs as best you can. And then over to the left, switch back to the right, and then it's flat out through the entire apex and carrying the speed on to Vale. Good overtaking opportunity for us. It really lets the Mazda stretch its legs as well. We're going up to about 115 plus miles an hour here, looking over to the left hand side for Vale, and then braking as we approach the curbing, slamming on those brakes, switching down into 3rd, carry the momentum. We missed the apex just ever so slightly, but carrying the speed through nicely. Use the curb on the left, but not too much as it will invalidate the time. Into Club Corner, massively on the brakes. We're using 2nd gear here, so down 2 gears. That's where it started to cause a few issues for us because we were starting to get some problems with the gearbox in this race. And then using 2nd gear, accelerating nicely out of club, over the new GP circuit's final corner and onto the main straight. This is where we're coming up to the village section, which of course is the newest part of the circuit. We're carrying as much speed as we can through here, about 85 miles an hour. That's as much as the Mazda will take before it starts to get a bit twitchy. And then making sure that you're hugging the inside curb as much as possible. We rise about mid-circuit and then over to the left, down into third for the first apex. And then what we do is we just ride the corner and then change down into second for the exit. Maximum power, and make sure you get a nice change up to third. Very tricky to do in this car, unfortunately. And then you're flat out, full throttle, onto the back straight, on towards Luffield. And we've got a Citroen Saxo coming up who's not on a flying lap. He's in the same class as we are. And we just want to make sure that we get down the inside, which we do, just about, down into third. Carry the speed through as much as we can. Late apex, we actually missed that quite drastically, but not to worry. This is actually the cleanest lap that we was able to get with 40 plus cars going around at the same time. Right, so exiting out to Luffield now, full throttle as soon as you get on the inside of the apex, full throttle all the way to the finishing line now, into fourth gear, carrying the speed across the finishing line up to about 95 miles an hour, and this was good enough for 5th place in class, which is our best ever result. So returning to our box, we had a long wait before our race went ahead at 5 PM that day. Lots of other machinery going out onto the circuit and lots of action to be seen, so we sat back, relaxed and enjoyed. Welcome back. This time lining up onto the grid for the start of the race then. In P5 in class, out of maybe 12 to 15 cars in total here. At the back end of the grid, out of all the 40 plus machines that are here this afternoon. Just lining up in time, waiting for the green light to show, and of course ready to go for our 45-minute race. There have been a few accidents in the lead up to this, which has kind of delayed our event, and we're not too sure how it's going to go in terms of time. But we're now waiting for the lights to go out, and we are off in our little Mazda RX-8. Get off to a really bad start, and that's because the traction control is still on, and a lot of cars going left, right, and centre. A Honda Accord goes off to the left, double yellows on the right, and a stationary BMW in the centre. And luckily we just managed to go onto the curbing, get by that, and instantly start to speed back up again, and already a red flag out on the left hand side, so they've abandoned the start of the race after that little incident. And there was actually an MG on the inside, which was P6 in class, that was starting alongside us. They got a really nice start off the line. They were actually going to move up into third place, but thanks to that incident, or not thanks to that incident, but because of the incident, we actually took that place back. So looking back at the replay then, let's have another look at this. So we're too busy looking at our traction control, trying to turn it off. A Honda Accord goes to the left, which is the first thing I pick up on. Then I notice the double yellows, and then I see this stationary BMW in the centre of the circuit. All very quick, and luckily to avoid any of that carnage. But now we have to do one entire lap down. There's yellows and red flags out at the moment, so we're going to be asked to line up once more and go for a restart. So I think we're going for a restart, guys. We're lining people up, moving things around, so any positions we might have gained during that aren't going to stay with us, unfortunately. But there was a huge crash going into Cops, which is a shame, but we luckily avoided that, thank God. It looked like a pretty big one, maybe 3 or 4 cars involved. Some BMW was spun out as Honda Accord went wide to the left. But yeah, let's see if we can get this done again. Fingers crossed the cameras stay alive for long enough. That's what I'm hoping. So yeah, let's see how that goes. So yeah, safety car start. I don't know if you guys heard that. Safety car start. Single file. It's not the kind of the big oomph, you know, home of GP, British Motorsport that we was hoping for. Just kind of want to get going now. You know, it's just want to go. Thing is this cutting entire time? I haven't got a clue. I don't know. I'm just going to keep going round and round in circles until someone tells me to stop. I think that's the strategy for now. Well, with the strategy finally decided upon and the approach to the race agreed, then we got asked to complete a lap behind the safety car. Back up to speed now and changing our camera so we can get a better view. We're stuck behind the Honda Civic, which is actually in Class C. We're in Class D, so we're expecting that to go into the distance. And a nice shot here from the bridge going towards Luffield of the grid coming through. And you can see some of the cars actually coming through in Class D as well. They've made a really good start to the race. And we're actually struggling to keep up with the safety car. We're all the way down at the new GP start-finish line, and we're going full out racing speed. And still, of course, because our car is so slow, it's not the same speed as the safety car. They're just going off into the distance, and we actually start to see several different pockets of cars emerge. And it's not one solid line. So any opportunities that may have existed going into the restart of the race are disappearing. And then for some reason I decided to go into 5th for this part, and I'll explain that more as the race goes on, but it's to do with the gearbox and the synchros for 2nd and 3rd. They're not in the best of shape at the moment, unfortunately. You can see the gap between me and the rest of the cars going towards the start finishing line. You can see the gap between me and P6, which is that red Mazda MX-5, and then beyond as well. The gaps are huge between our particular class, and what effectively happens is I find myself in a very peculiar situation where I'm pretty much on my own for the restart. There's no one ahead of me because the Honda Civic and the Peugeot have just disappeared off into the distance. I'm going flat out through Luffield onto the start finishing line. There's the green flag, so we are now officially racing again, and that's it. You know, I'm just on my own for now. It's a very peculiar situation. Not found myself in that kind of spot before. And already you can see me in the bottom left camera. I was shaking my head thinking, you know, well, this is a mess. So what I tell myself at this point is, right, let's go into time attack mode. Wait for the tyres to warm up because we've been stationary for quite some time now, at least 10 to 15 minutes. And we've got no idea how long is left before the race is over. We still need to serve our 2-minute pit stop at this point as well. And you can see the group of cars up ahead just going off into the distance, just completely different class of cars, except for the Peugeot 206 that was in that pack. That is a lightning quick car, by the way. Not too sure what they've done to that, but that is just super quick. So we've got some stuff to do to our own Mazda if we are going to have any hopes of catching them in future rounds, that's for sure. Sort of a bit of a twitchy moment there from the RX-8. Just didn't like it on cold tyres as we went down into club. And this is the problem with 2nd to 3rd. It really does not like it. It likes 3rd to 4th and 4th to 3rd, but nothing below that. So I think maybe that the synchros in the gearbox are starting to go. So something for us to investigate post-race, just to iron out any gremlins and see if we can rectify that for the next round at Snetterton. Now there are double yellows out here at Village, and that's due to the MG that we saw at the start of the race. It's been abandoned on the left hand side of the track due to some technical problems, and that of course was going to be our main competition for this part of the race, but unfortunately they have actually broken down. They've left it on the edge of the curb off the racing line, are still double yellows out. I'm not too sure how they wanted to retrieve that at the time, but of course the main important thing is that the driver got out safely. So we are slowly but surely catching these guys ahead. The Honda Civic, of course, being the next in line, not for class but for overall position still. And currently at the restart we are sitting in P5 in class at the moment. And double yellows out here at Vale, just giving a forward a few laps. And there's this BMW's going very slowly. We've been catching them over the course of a few laps now, and the safety car has been brought out due to another incident on circuit, and this is the second one in our 45-minute race. So just catching back up. It actually took us a good lap and a half to catch back up to the end of the tail, so to speak, which just shows how much pace that thing has and how far it's keeping ahead of the guys. So this time I'm thinking to myself, right, I'm not going to lose the guys ahead. We can see them in the grid just between these two cars now, which is the Peugeot and the Mazda MX-5. Those guys are in class, and the Peugeot will be on a podium position at the moment, and that Mazda MX-5 will be sitting in P4. So we're fully aware of this. We've got two cars in between us. They are a faster car. And seeing the cars go in to the pit lane, I'm thinking, right, I'm going to bounce on that. The safety car is still deployed, so we're thinking, right, they're going to try and get their pit stop out of the way while it's nice and slow, and I think that's a good idea. I'm going to follow them. And for those that remember last episode when we went to Silverstone National, that is exactly what happened to us last time. We served our pit stop, then the safety car got brought out. We lost a ton of time and positions. So I think, right, I'm not going to fall for that trick again, and we follow the Peugeot into the pit lane, who's our main goal for this race. So serving our 2 minutes, we left a few seconds leeway just to make sure we didn't get any nasty penalties. Back out onto the circuit, and away we go. Nice grind of the gearbox as always from second to third. And we're back to racing conditions now. So we just managed in the nick of time to get our pit stop served under the safety car, and by the time we've served that 2 minutes, it is back to green racing conditions. But, you know, talking about the car a bit then, so it actually feels very stable. I'm starting to get really familiar with what the car likes, what the car doesn't like. Of course, we had that moment going to Max and Beckett's, but we put that down to tyre pressures way too high because the temperature just decided to soar past that point. So we've taken the pressures back down for the race. BMW on the right hand side here has a bit of a problem, so we take him down the inside going into club. And this is actually starting to turn out to be quite a nice little car to drive, in my opinion. She's a bit slow. We can still find a bit more pace here and there, especially in terms of the weight. We've still got the AC, for example. We're going to take that out for the next round, shed a bit of a weight that way. You know, there's a lot of other problems that still exist, especially with the gearbox, which is starting to become quite a nuisance. The tracking is out slightly. And we actually get taken down the inside here by one of the faster classes into turn 1, and also coming into Maggotts and Beckett's as well. So some of the faster classes starting to become a bit of an issue for us, and some of them making very aggressive moves indeed. And there's actually a bit of debris this time by at Vale, so someone's lost a bit of, I think, heating mesh or mesh around the exhaust pipe. We tried to avoid it, but just carrying too much speed, by the time we clocked onto that, kind of just ran over it. So I'm thinking to myself, oh god, does that cut one of my braking lines, or, you know, one of my oil cooling lines or something? So for the next few laps we're looking at the dials, making sure that the temperature is fine, making sure that the oil levels are still correct and stuff. So that was a bit of a worry for us, running over that bit of debris. And once again, skipping forward a few laps. Not much really to be said about this race, unfortunately. Again, we are pretty much on our own. Not really much action unfolding. We do overtake a few cars that are having problems here and there. And from there on, it's pretty much just about avoiding some of these hooligans that are deciding to go down into the corner. This guy in particular sends it late into tops, and we get pushed wide. Of course, no aero, no front grip whatsoever, and we get pushed off. We actually pick up some nasty marbles as a result of that, and we have to kind of take it easy for the next few corners. Nice battle between the front runners though, for the Porsche and the Golf, or the VW Golf. They're going through village section, and also this Seat still in the mix for the fight as well. Not too sure what position they were fighting for, but it was a nice battle nevertheless. And now we're just waiting for the checkered flag to be waved for us. We've got no idea what's going on. We know that we've served our pit stop. We know that the race time has been affected as a result of the safety car, but we've got no idea where we are, what position we're in, or how long we've got to go still. So we're just kind of nursing the car home, making sure that we don't do anything stupid. We know that we're in P5 at the moment, and just trying to make sure that we bring that home, because this will be our best ever result if we can make sure that we get it to the checkered flag in one piece. And coming out of Luffield, full throttle down to straight, there's the checkered flag on the right hand side, coming across the start finishing line. That is our best result ever so far, P5, with so many cars and different classes on the grid. We are so over the moon at that point, it's hard to explain.
So that's the race over. 2 safety cars, 2 big incidents, a few breakdowns, and we're just on our own basically. There was hardly any racing at all, which is very disappointing. But the Peugeot up ahead, that was in class, but it just fucked off. It just went. It was nowhere to be seen. And then behind us there was nobody. There was a red MX-5, and then there was no Mazda MX-5 after that. I just don't understand. There was just literally nobody around me in my class. That restart was there must have been at least 5 different pockets of cars on that restart, and I was just on my own. It was bizarre, really, really bizarre. But I'm sure there's good reasons for it. Yeah, that's Silverstone GP round, or the 3rd race we've ever done. And if we ever do it again, hopefully we'll get a lot more action. But yeah, not much to report really. I kept grinding 2nd to 3rd. This car really doesn't like it for some reason. So I think we've got some gremlins in the gearbox now from doing nothing to it the previous round. So something's gone wrong in the gearbox, that's for sure. It's just not changing up smoothly at all. So that's going to need investigation. Other than that though, you know, there's all is going well, touch wood. But yeah, just very disappointing end to the race or the weekend. You know, we've waited with the last race of the day, and you know, it's not the race I was hoping it would be. But there you go, you win some, you lose some. We'll go to Snetterton next, and that will be hopefully a lot better. So thanks for tuning in guys, don't forget to give us a like and sub if you have enjoyed the content, and we'll see you on the next one.
Now, just as we was getting ready to leave, the organisers came over to us and said that the guys ahead had received penalties, putting us up to 2nd place in class, and that was our first ever piece of silverware. Couldn't be happier. What a day to finish, and I absolutely loved every second of it.